In this episode, we are going to be talking about one of the most frequently asked questions on the minds of students, new grads, and even some parents, and that is, which university degree pays the most at the workplace? And you're going to be surprised. All right, so without much ado, let's get into it. Awesome. So I saw this report by The Economist recently, and it really tickled me. So I wanted to make content out of this because I've had people who have been asking me about this particular topic for quite a while. So basically, this report shows this is for United States though. So a big disclaimer, it's not for everywhere, it's for United States. So it shows that earnings after 1 year, earnings 1 year after graduation, right? Between 2017 2018 of by major colleges in the US. So it's looking at which courses pays the most. Predominantly, very simple. So I'll explain what the chart meant, or what it means in this case. So it means that when you look at it from the left to the right, it's looking at how competitive that program is to get in. So 100% means that it's less competitive, meaning that maybe it's a lower tier school. And the closer you get to 0%, that means that it's very difficult to get into the program or to the school. So if the admission rate is 100%, means that everyone who applies gets in. If the admission rate is 0%, it means that everyone who apply does not get in. Or if it's 1%, it means 1 out of 100 people would get into the program. That's the essence of it. And then the y-axis here shows their earnings after 1 year of working. After you graduate, 1 year into your work, the typical or average salaries as shown are here, right? So we'll pick them apart. So we looked at architecture and engineering, saying that okay, there are a lot of lower tier, mid-tier schools. But the most important thing is that when you finish in your program, engineering and architecture, the median salary for what we would say top-rated programs would be about 70K, right? And I don't want, if you're not from the United States, I don't want you to focus too much on the money, because these numbers are irrelevant to you, because cost of living and things would vary based on where you live, right? So looking at these numbers, let's say you're living somewhere in any country, maybe Togo or any, and look at it, wow, I finished engineering, I'm able to get that kind of money, that would be a dream come true. No, you're not going to have that, right? Because it doesn't correlate to the underlying economic conditions in your country. This is just an example I'm using. Okay, it's just an example. So you're looking at architecture, and that is it. Then you look at business and economics. So I would say anything business, maybe an MBA and those kind of things. It means that getting an MBA from a top tier school would make your earnings will actually make you see some really good earnings, right? And even in this case, it depends on which state that you are. If you were in, let's say, one of the most populated states in America, $90,000 may not do much, right? Let's say California or New York or Chicago and those places, the cost of living is so high that you see this amount, but it's actually nothing, right? But if you're in a very rural state where cost of living is very low, then making that kind of money makes a big difference. So I just want to draw these kind of distinctions. So looking at this chart, you realize that two things stand out. That it's saying that business and economics, right? And then math, physics, computer science, right? Over here are the ones that you say, wow, these programs, if I were to get myself involved in math, physics, and computer science, that would be great because the earning potential is so massive, right? The other thing that I'm not too sure about is the life sciences, although it's a published report. I'm not very confident and comfortable about life sciences because I know that doctors earn a great deal of money in the United States. So cardiologists and neuro surgery and anesthesiologists, they earn massive. So I don't know much about this. Maybe this life sciences may not include doctors or certain specialist medical professionals. It may not include them. I don't know, but I'm just using this as an example to let's test our hypothesis and see if the course that you do in the university has any bearing at all on your earnings potential, and more importantly, your employability potential. So basically, this is what this chart means. It's telling us that for our brothers and sisters in America, those who focus on business and economics, right, and then the math, physics, and computer science end up getting paid massively. Okay, so this is what my take on it is. It's very simple. Clearly speaking, if you are living or planning to live in a developed country, then that hypothesis is maybe true, right? Or it's true in this case. That if you were to get yourself in a very wonderful MBA program, or you to get yourself in these hard sciences like math, physics, computer science, and the like, computer engineering and those kind of things, then your earnings potential, and actually it correlates also to your employability potential, then that potential just escalates dramatically, right? Now, if you are in a developing country, Africa, West Africa, Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, and those places, those type of countries that are developing, this does not apply to you. This is the reason why. I've been there. I know that this does not apply to you. And the reason is purely simple. Most companies in, let's say, developing countries, most businesses that set up in developing countries are classified or can be classified in global terms. Most of them, overwhelming majority, will be classified as small businesses. Small businesses in the sense that they typically employ anywhere between 1 and maybe up to 20 employees. And these companies are the dominant types of companies in existence in most developing countries. They're typically they start as mom and pop, and then they expand a little bit here and there, and then they tend to maybe mom and pop starts a new garment manufacturing business, and it's just a few mom, pop, and kids, and then they begin to grow and buy a new warehouse and employ 3 other people, and then it grows to 5, typically around 20 thereabout. Then you have a company. Basically, you have a really workable company, right? Typically, yes, there are big companies in Africa, but overwhelmingly they are typically foreign owned. They are not locally owned, right? They are, let's say, extensions of foreign companies. So let's say Standard Chartered is one of them, Vodafone, I think Orange, which is a French telecom company. These are like big companies that kind of extend their branches in developing countries, which is fine. But the point is, most of the companies in these countries are small. You're talking of probably probably more than 95% of companies in developing countries are small. Okay, so what are the pros and cons of potentially working for small companies? And this is how you're going to position yourself if you are in any of these developing countries. And predominantly, my audience is African young graduates, right? So, in speaking to you, I say these companies, to get in them, to me, I don't think the course that you studied in school count for jack. The reason is this: most of the time, even the university degree that you did or you're pursuing may not even be your first choice. My first choice would be do whatever excites you, because you see, school work is tough. Sometimes the coursework, the exam is tough. So it becomes tough if you are doing a program in university that you really hate. And I knew a lot of friends in school who really hated what they did, and it makes the work double tough. So if you can find something that you really like, and regardless of whatever you pay, just do it. And you do it so that you will really enjoy it. Now, if you can't find that and they give you anything, which happens in most African, colleges, you apply for this and they say, okay, what you apply for is not available. So go and you apply for economics. Economics is not available. Classes are full. So go and do philosophy or sociology. There's nothing wrong with philosophy or sociology. Nothing. Just do it. Right? And when you do it, know very well that your potential employer is likely to be a small business. Some people get employed by government. I'm not talking about government. I'm talking about your potential employer is typically a small business. If you're going to be working for government, what I'm about to say will hold true anyway for you. Now, what happens in comparison to developed countries are that the reason why those fields pay more, so the engineering, the math, the physics, the computer science, the business and economics degrees, those pay the most, is that most of the companies in these environments, you're talking of very developed, very advanced, highly innovative businesses who spent a lot of money in their research and development processes. They have all their operations well oiled out, and then they have specialist, well-funded units within the organization. So talk about a company like GE, General Electric, right? General Motors, Ford, Microsoft, Coca-Cola, Pepsi. These organizations have well-structured departments. So you have marketing department that probably has over 1,000 employees. You have sales department that has several thousands of employees. You have the finance and accounting department that has similar size number of employees. Legal department with hundreds, if not thousands of employees. You have various other, maybe engineering and research with thousands and thousands of employees, right? Now you compare that with a small company in Accra, Ghana, that has 20 employees, started by a founder. This founder may not have the resources to hire specialist staff. So what you're going to have to do is you finish with your sociology, and the chart I just showed you shows that, if you did sociology and humanities, you may not earn that much. Frankly speaking, that is not true. What you need to do is look at the market that you are in. And what you have to do, you have to develop your skill set regardless of the university degree that you did. Honestly, finish the degree, but honestly, throw that degree away, quote unquote, and acquire skills that will be relevant to companies of that size. Okay? So, think about the owner of that company, the owner who owns that small mom and pop business or a factory in Accra, Ghana, or Nairobi, Kenya. Or that tech startup that is starting. What do they need? What are their needs? Put yourself in their shoes. This company would likely want an all-rounder, that they hire you and you're able to do the job of 3 people. Okay, so you are going to position yourself that after university you now begin to learn. A friend of mine said this, that university helps you, or actually university is the gateway to help you know how to learn, which is very profound. So after university, this is the time that you are going to learn. University prepares you to learn. So now that you finish university, you are now going to learn. So regardless of your background, it could be history, could be math, it could be physics, could be that. But now, bring it down. Think, if you are going to be working in Africa, think about, okay, if I'm going to be working in Africa, chances are I'm going to be working for maybe a small, medium-sized organization that is not very highly specialized in terms of departments yet. There are companies that are specialized. So you have companies, maybe, let's say, APSA, which used to be Barclays, Standard Chartered Bank, right? Some of the big banks, MTN is one of them, the big telco in Africa, from South Africa, right? And there are other big companies as well, the gold mining companies that have very big balance sheets. They probably may have those kind of specialized silos of department, but your average Joe company would not have that. So you go in there, say, okay, can I position myself so that I'll be resourceful in the marketing function? I could be resourceful in, let's say, data analytics function. I could be resourceful as a back office employee. And listen, this is you being an early employee. You're not starting your career. You are not mid-management level yet. So you're going to build your career from a generalist point of view. If you are living or going to be living in Africa, you have to start your career as a generalist, right? Where you know things like spreadsheets, presentations, digital marketing, and the like, anything. So you are broadening your appeal so that when you go to work for these companies, it becomes a win-win for you and them. Win-win in the sense that they would not need to hire 3 people to do your work. You do the work of 3, possibly 4, possibly 5 people. Okay? A win for you in the sense that your knowledge base is broad. Then after you enter and you begin to work for them, maybe 2, 3, 4 years down the road, then you begin to look for places or spaces within the organization that really gels with you, that you're really excited about, and you begin to hone your skill. You begin to go deeper or narrower as you get deeper in your career. This is for those in Africa. If you are looking at maybe traveling to Europe and to the States or any developed country, then your approach will be different, because you are likely to be, even in the United States, when they say a company, maybe it's a medium-sized or even small company, some of them have employees up to 200, even up to 500 can be classified as a small to mid-sized business. You get a point. So in that case, for instance, when I worked for MedAssets, so it was Broadlane, and then Broadlane got acquired and it became MedAssets in Plano, Texas. So even in that, Broadlane wasn't classified as a big company. MedAssets wasn't classified as a big company. It was a medium-sized company with, I think, close to 4,000 employees or so. What I noticed, and even in my work in Europe, attested to this, that there were specialist functions. So there is no need for me as a grad to be a generalist if I want to work in MedAssets, because if I acquired digital marketing skills and what do you call it, sales skills, analytical skills, all these kind of skills at the go, it may not be needed. The reason is this: the marketing department probably was about maybe 50 to 100 people. They have every specialty within the marketing function. The operations department, probably another 100 or 200 people. They had every specialty. Account management had every specialty. Legal had every specialty. So the analysts and the contract negotiators had every specialty. The clinical side had every specialty. So my job was I went in there initially as an analyst. So I needed to become the best analyst to get in there. And then with time, I decided to broaden. to other areas. So analysts and then are going to contract negotiation and here and then, doing legal stuff, contracting, this, that, client facing stuff. So, but I started very narrow and very focused. So for those who are starting their careers in developed countries, you have to start narrow and focused, go deep. So you have to be the best. If you're an analyst, you have to know all the tools in analysis. If you're into marketing, you have to go deep and know deep. Even sometimes you have to even go sub deep. So in marketing is broad. But what if you go in and say, I'm the search engine optimization expert, and you go deeper and deeper and deeper into it, right? So, and you say, okay, even in the search engine optimization, there are angles that you can even go deeper. So if you go in and you go for an interview and say, oh, I'm a marketing guy, I'm an expert in search engine optimization, and I know my stuff, and you prove to them that you become of great value. And then with time, you look for areas that you can grow into to broaden your appeal or to broaden your scope. Okay. So with that said, the answer is very simple. If you are in developed countries, you can specialize into these areas. If you are in developing countries, do what you love. Come out and now begin to learn. Learn and become resourceful. Become an all-rounder. All-rounder. And that will get you your job. And that will get you the promotion you needed. Thank you.